I now request Professor Ravi S. Vasudevan, Senior Film and Media Historian, to deliver the keynote address. Professor Ravi Vasudevan is a film and media historian. His publications include Making Meaning in Indian Cinema, The Melodramatic Public, Film Form and Spectatorship in Indian Cinema, Media and the Constitution of the Political South Asia and Beyond, and Documentary Now, the Mark Special Issue on Contemporary Documentary. He co-founded the South Asian Screen Studies journal Biscope in 2010. With Ravi Sundaram, he directs Sarai, the media research program of the Center for Study for Developing Societies. He has curated and organized film screenings, lecture series, and conferences. He is currently working on non-fiction film infrastructures, the film archives and questions of historiography, film and the history of publicity, film, media, and mythopolitics, post-cinema media artifacts, and political imageries. Professor Ravi Vasudevan.
Thank you very much. I'm delighted to be present here along with many other cinephiles, people who love cinema, and honorable guests, and especially Asha, who has been extremely kind of motivational in urging us to participate in this and join us. A number of us here are academics, and but we're in the process of learning new techniques and trying to understand new dynamics. And certainly the agenda which Asha has plotted for Cinemazi indicates a way forward in terms of accessing new technologies and working on existing material, but within digital parameters as well. So the future is potentially rich, but I think one of Asha's and others' concerns is that the future is, there's an anxiety about how memory will be preserved. We as academics and as historians are concerned how history will be preserved, how documentation, how the archives, how will these be held together and also become active? Because there's one thing about holding material, keeping it in a place, but how do you make it live? How do you actually bring it into connection with people in the contemporary through the technologies which they find easy, accessible, which they want to use? So that becomes, I think, some of the challenges which many of us cultivated within the traditional academy on these matters will have to actually engage. Today, I just wanted to focus on a few things quite quickly, because we don't have much time. But the focus is exactly on the question of this relationship between the print archive and the very powerful print archive, which is being assembled here with Cinemazi and by many people everywhere. I'm talking about, say, the figure of the collector. The collectors who actually passionately pick up and hold every item in terms of published material, in terms of scrapbooks, in terms of lobby cards, in terms of songbooks. These are the people who actually have assembled, and we are, in a sense, continuously in debt to them, in conversation with them, to try and understand how best to collate and animate this set of collections. And it is diverse, it is dispersed, and that is what is powerful about it. When Asha talks about engaging the people, the participation of the people, it is very much this. It is to do with this multitude who are actually invested in carrying things. I remember as a child preserving with great care my cinema tickets. My mother, whom I inherited a passion for cinema from, she would pick up all these little, which were available in these toffee things. You'll get a picture of a star, and you'll assemble all these pictures of the stars. There's Hollywood stars. I don't think this is very much current here. But you possess something. You know the cinema, you've seen the cinema, sometimes you haven't seen the cinema. And you live the cinema through these artifacts. Wonderful scholarship on print and pleasure by Francesca Orsini shows how women did not go to the cinema. They sometimes could not go to the cinema, but it was the songbook which facilitated their access and their participation. And we have a multitude of those things. So the print archive, posters, songbooks, lobby cards, advertisements, newspaper supplements, dedicated film magazines, cultural magazines. This becomes the wherewithal that an ecology, where you get a sense of cinema without necessarily being able to see it continuously. That also becomes a mahal, a kind of setting within which this engagement takes place. What has happened in the contemporary, the second thing I would like to highlight quickly is the powerful presence of YouTube as an unexpected archive of cinema. We do not know what is going to be uploaded, when it is going to be uploaded, from what source it is uploaded. We have these now dedicated things, which I really find very interesting, as Cinemazia and others are doing, which is the video essay. That's a conscious way in which you actually kind of draw upon film clips and create a certain type of narrative about cinema history, take us down memory lane. But this other thing, it's an eruption. It comes from anywhere and nowhere, and we are not always sure where this film has come from, you know? And that becomes another fascinating space. I want to quickly show you. And here I take the blessings of Vishnu and his kind of, the gift he gave to cinema through Dada Saheb Phalke in Sri Krishna Janma. So if we can see this first set of slides, can we do that? This is from the 1918 film by Dada Saheb Phalke, only a fragment of which is available. Is it possible to, so this slide number? नहीं दिखा रहा है. What are the interesting things about this? We would see this film in the 1980s. It was difficult to see it. It came to us from the archive. It was on a VHS cassette supplied by Suresh Chabria to us. Now, of course, it is YouTube. It is just on YouTube, you know. Of course, it's on other places which are much more organized for the purposes of historical kind of data basing. That is, for example, indiancine.ma, an extremely important resource for all of us as teachers. Lots of films uploaded, annotated, etc. So now that would be available earlier with great difficulty. Today, it's YouTube. So YouTube as an archive is critical. Very briefly, one way of framing this is we see Vishnu and the arrival of different castes in front of him to seek his blessings. And there are intertitles indicating each caste, starting with the Brahmin, going through the Kshatriya, the Vaishya, and the Shudra. And in each of these, it's actually very interesting. Single shot setups, society is divided and separated. But at the end of this very simple film, all castes gather under in Vishnu's frame. And all, in a sense, cohabit. In a situation where they earlier had not, it's as if Vishnu has actually appropriated the technology of cinema to facilitate his vision afresh and in new settings and with a democratic imaginary. So that's a starting point. Vishnu, we start off with that, but now we understand another thing, the extraordinary diversity of our film heritage. This is something extremely important to recognize. The diverse places, sources, languages, scripts, images, iconography, which actually configured it. One very good way to look at it, and I'll move on from here, is genre. The different forms of film which were popularly accessed, and we're talking about mythologicals, as Sri Krishna Janma is, historicals, oriental films, social films, stunt movies, and there's been extraordinary research, I should tell you, on these fields. And in a way in which ethnographically engaging film practice and technology has become the kind of motif of the contemporary in terms of film studies. So we're not just looking at a film or available film fragments. We're trying to pierce through the screen, try and understand where this frame is coming from, how it was done, how this action was staged, what that art direction is about, how that cinematography was. And this is a tradition which is building very powerfully. I can see that Cinemazia actually reflects this engagement as well. We must remember the power and the distribution of what the film book does, the songbook. See, the songbook, we can say, is a document of information. This is one way we can look at it. It is a document of information telling us about the film, its cast, its credits, its synopsis, and the different lyrics which compose film songs in multiple languages. And this becomes an extraordinarily cosmopolitan kind of print object which refers to the cinema, but it itself is significant as a separate entity with powerful visuality, sometimes with photographs, but extraordinary poster-like covers. You can just go on Cinemazi and you'll get lots of this kind of information. You don't need to see it from me. And what is interesting is the way in which you have this diversity of forms. One of the most important is the way in which the historical and mythological film moves into the sphere of stuff like the social. The social often was considered to be one of the key dynamic kind of genres of Indian cinema in terms of talking about modernity, social reform, and these things were very much in play from the 1930s onwards. And I was going to show you a wonderful kind of songbook cover from Kunku Dunya Namane, which actually captures what Ravikant will talk to you about, an intermediate affect, where the way this benighted woman forced into a marriage is actually in front of a gramophone record, and that becomes a resource for her in terms of how she's actually managing this hostile and unjust space. But there are many such instances. Within that, there are differentiations. Extraordinary work in the Muslim social film, for example. And the booklets themselves again reflect the importance of Urdu and the way Urdu becomes central to all lyrics and song cultures in Indian cinema of that period. The songbook exists in itself separate from cinema. This is something I'd like you to think about. It is to be collected, collated, organized, and touched and felt and shared. This is about sharing also. The collector, by and large, is a sharer. He wants to actually engage with his peers, show what he or she has, and actually circulate these things. It's a powerful, and I've noticed an accumulation of media forms which they house. So they will take every item possible related to a film, whether it's a songbook, a paperback, a VHS cassette, DVD, everything will be assembled. Nothing will be left. There's an extraordinary plenitude to the way in which they work, not to leave a single scrap of what this film culture is about and how it can be held. But that possession is very important. That desire actually embodied in things and artifacts and circulations. I like the fact that we want to start with Sri Krishna Janma as YouTube, not only as 1918 Phalke classic, pioneer. It is to do with the contemporary, and as Ravikant in a fascinating article called Googling Caste says, it's also about the comments, the responses, and the presence publics have in YouTube, how they relate to these kind of formations. I think I'll leave it there. The print culture itself is an extraordinary kind of field with which to access the cinema. And now as it moves into the digital regime, realm, what range of potentialities are unleashed? And I think institutions like Cinemazi will be cultivating this further. Thank you.